Hey guys, Saloon here. In today's episode of Zero to Hero, we learn that people who sign with two different roles are sus. We attempt not one, but 2 level 10 keys and get some good progress towards our goal. Let's open the vault first. We had the choice between a crit mastery ring with speed or a haste mastery cloak. This was a no-brainer. The ring is fantastic for us, so I picked that and swapped off the haste verse ring, which are terrible stats for us. After this, I jumped straight into keys. We started the week with a missed 7, which was my own key. I didn't need this dungeon at all, but I wanted to push my key as far as I could, and I figured this should be easily timeable. We had a bit of a hiccup at the start, where the priest only cast Mind Soothe on one mob for some reason, so someone aggroed one of the others, and that led us to a wipe. After this, we didn't really have any major deaths. There were 1 or 2 personal mistakes, and that was it. We +2'd the key and got no score, as I did this once before. I got a +9 Stonevault out of this, but I lowered it to an 8. Unfortunately, I forgot to press record. Sorry. Waiting for 30 minutes between each dungeon makes me forget to record sometimes. I do have a Raider.io screenshot of our group comp and a screenshot of the overall stats from details. We smashed this key and +2'd it. I also got the heroic haste mastery neck out of here, which is a huge upgrade for us. Since I double upgraded this 8, you know what that means. It is time for our very first 10, and it's going to be City of Threads? Well, no. I honestly tried to put a group together for a 10 city, but within 10 minutes, only one singular mage signed up for the key, so I decided to lower it to an 8 instead and see where we go from there. The first death happened on the second bosses, where the healer went down, but he got picked back up and killed the boss with no problems. After the bosses, while the tank was gathering the trash together, he went down pretty quickly, but thankfully everyone reacted well to the situation. The druid used his CR and Vortex, I used Binding Shot and Feign Death, the priest popped Vampiric Embrace to help out with the healing, so we recovered nicely. I was truly impressed by that. Everything went fine until the last boss, where things turned sketchy after the healer and the shadow priest died. But luckily me and the rogue and the tank managed to keep ourselves alive and +2 this key, giving us a score of 43 and only a warbound item. Our score stands at 2168. This gave us a +10 Dawnbreaker. This time will be truly our first attempt at a +10, as Dawnbreaker is considered to be one of the easier dungeons this season. Getting a group together for this took little to no time. I was quite nervous on the first boss, but not for myself, rather the tank. We really don't have a good track record with tanks in this dungeon so far, but I was really hoping surely on a 10 there will be no issues. And I'm delighted to say there weren't. This boss went down pretty smoothly. The shaman, mage and the tank did a good job from keeping the way for the beams clear, and there were no random deaths during the intermission either. We had the first death on the second lieutenant, of course, where the poor shaman stood in the front row. Not gonna lie, his earthquakes did not help with all the visual clutter on the floor. The first real sign of trouble began on the second boss. As a hunter, at least on this key level, it's not too hard to survive. For every shadow decay, I have some kind of defensive ready to use. Sadly, the mage goes down at the second shadow decay, followed by the shaman. He got combat rest up, but we wiped anyway. The second try went a lot better and killed the boss with no issues. We had still 8 minutes left. I figured if we don't wipe on this boss, we should time this easily. There was one scary moment on the last boss where the mage went with the green line the wrong way, and I preemptively moved out and just turtled, just in case. But in the last second he realized and blinked the right way. Eventually we finally got the boss down and timing our first stun. Got 53 score out of this, taking us to 2221 total score. I got no loot, but it doesn't even matter. I will have a mid-track gear in my vault next week, which is going to be far bigger upgrade than a heroic item from here. At least hopefully. My happiness does not last long. Once I spotted what key did I get out of this. Stonevault 11. I lowered it to 10 of course, and once again, not a lot of people were willing to sign up until this DK signed, and I got absolutely scammed. Usually I don't record while I'm putting the key together as it usually takes a while, but this guy signed as both tank and DPS, and when he signed he was in tank spec. I invited him and a few seconds later he switched to DPS, and I said to him, I invited you as a tank. He then made some weird excuse that made no sense. He said, I didn't do anything, but sure I can tank. I had no idea what he meant, and I instantly knew this was a massive red flag, but I kind of just wanted to get rid of this Stonevault one way or another. As soon as the first pull started, I could tell by the way he pulled that he is not very experienced as a tank or first time tanking a 10. He was pulling very slowly, pack by pack. We also wiped several times because he just died. By the time we reached the second boss, we had 15 deaths because the tank couldn't stay alive. We almost wiped on the second boss, and the healer made the comment saying this dungeon is going too slowly. Our damage wasn't great, the pulls weren't great. The Mechanist's bosses went surprisingly great. That's the only positive from this dungeon, and I guess the fact that nobody left. I checked our tank on Raider.io, and I can see the only keys he tanked was 2 untimed 10s, one of them being mine, and a single upgraded 6. Now, I wasn't super mad, because I knew this guy comes with a massive red flag, and getting people in this key was hard. But going tank out of desperation for an easy invite is not the way to go. You shouldn't learn tanking in a +10. I understand not getting invited or even putting your own key together takes ages and it sucks, but getting your weekly 10 done by ruining someone's key with your lack of knowledge on how to tank and how to pull in a dungeon is bad in a pug setting. At least I still got 10 score and an upgrade in the form of heroic gloves. Now the key curse hits again as it turned into a Dawnbreaker +9. I lowered the 9 turn 8 and decided to sign for other people's keys, see if I can time some 8s. I was able to time a +8 Grim Battle, a +8 Siege of Boralus, and a +8 Necrotic Wake. We end this key on a 616 item level and a score of 2324. 3 vault windows, 1 being a mythic item, and a +10 key for next week. We made a lot of progress this week, and I'm quite close in score, but I feel like next week will be tough, as I need to time 4 keys on a 10 in order to achieve Keystone Hero, but people won't invite me to their 10s, so I have to 100% rely on my own keys, which based on this week's experience might be not as successful, but we shall see. I thank you all very much for watching. If you enjoy my series, please give it a like and feel free to subscribe for more. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.